Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Hyabhadrani Vidunoti Suhrit Satam नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 19, Text 37. भवान् परित्रातुमिहावितीर्णो धर्मं जनानां समयानुरूपं वेणापचाराद् अवलुप्तमद्य तद्देहतो विष्णुकलासि वैन्य भवान् परित्रातुमिहावतीर्णो धर्मं जनानां समयानुरूपम् वेणापचारादवलुप्तमद्य तद्देहतो विष्णुकलासि वैन्य भवान् परित्रातुमिहावतीर्णो धर्मं जनानां समयानुरूपम् वेणापचारात् अवलुप्तमद्य तद्देहतो विष्णुकलासि वैन्य. Synonyms: Bhavan, your majesty, Paritratum, just to deliver, Iha, in this world, Avatiranaha, incarnated, Dharmam, religious systems, Jananam, of people in general, Samaya Anurupam, according to time and circumstances, Vena Apacharat, by the misdeeds of King Vena, Avaluptum, almost vanished, Adya, at the present moment, Tat, his, Dehataha, from the body, Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu, Kala, part of a plenary portion, Asi, you are, Vainya, O son of King Vena. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: O King Prithu, son of Vena, you are the part and parcel expansion of Lord Vishnu. Due to the mischievous activities of King Vena, religious principles were almost lost. At that opportune moment, you descended as the incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Indeed, for the protection of the religious principles, you have appeared from the body of King Vena. Purport: the way in which Lord Vishnu kills the demons and protects the faithful is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 4.8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. In order to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. In two hands, Lord Vishnu always carries a club and chakra to kill demons, and in his other two hands, he holds a conch shell and a lotus to give protection to his devotees. When his incarnation is present on this planet or in this universe, the Lord kills the demons and protects his devotees simultaneously. Sometimes Lord Vishnu appears in his person as Lord Krishna or Lord Rama. All of these appearances are mentioned in the Shastras. Sometimes he appears as Shakti Avesh Avatar, like Lord Buddha. As explained before, these Shakti Avesh Avataras are incarnations of Vishnu's power invested in a living entity. The living entities are also part and parcel of Lord Vishnu, but they are not as powerful. Therefore, when a living entity descends as an incarnation of Vishnu, he is especially empowered by the Lord. When King Prithu is described as an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, it should be understood that he is a Saktyavesh Avatara, part and parcel of Lord Vishnu, and is specifically empowered by him. Any living being acting as the incarnation of Lord Vishnu is thus empowered by Lord Vishnu to preach the Bhakti cult. Such a person can act like Lord Vishnu and defeat demons by arguments and preach the Bhakti cult exactly according to the principles of Shastra. As indicated in the Bhagavad Gita, whenever we find someone extraordinarily preaching the Bhakti cult, we should know that he is especially empowered by Lord Vishnu. or Lord Krishna. As confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ante Leela 7:11, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Tara Pravartana. One cannot explain the glories of holy name of the Lord without being specifically empowered by him. If one criticizes or finds fault with such an empowered personality, one is to be considered to be an offender against Lord Vishnu and is punishable. Even though such offenders may dress as Vaishnavas with false tilaka and mala, they are never forgiven by the Lord if they offend a pure Vaishnava. There are many instances of this in the Shastras. नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपतक स्वामिनिति नामने नमो आचार्य पताय नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी विचारणे विशेष श्रीमति पाठशाला देशतारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. I humbly bow down to all the assembled Vaishnavas and thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. So today we are in fourth canto, 19th chapter, text 37. So this chapter is titled "The King Prithu's 100 Horse Sacrifices." So we saw in the previous chapters like how King Prithu here the descendant the King Prithu is mentioned as the son of King Vena. So we all know like how the King Vena was a very tyrannical king. He was actually totally against the Vedic way of governing and making the citizens live a happy Krishna conscious life. Rather, he was focused on how he can make his material conditions more happy. And he considered himself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it so happened the sages, who were the general council, they decided to kill King Vena. So they used their mystical power and they killed King Vena. So after King Vena was dead, there was nobody to actually rule the kingdom. And it's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam that the rogues and thieves, they were about to take over because there was no king to take care of the prajas. So at that time, the sages they used King Vena's body because you have to create a descendant from King Vena to rule. So they used King Vena's body, and then they, using their mystical powers, they actually from the thigh of King Vena they created King Prithu Maharaj and Archi. And also, it's mentioned how King Prithu Maharaj is none other than an Saktyavesh avatar of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So here, Srila Prabhupada explains this in greater detail. So this verse here it is said, "O King Prithu, son of Vena, you are part and parcel expansion of Lord Vishnu." So this says that there are different types of avatars. So here Srila Prabhupada very specifically explains the Shakti Avesh avatar. The Shakti Avesh avatar are the where the Lord's energy is invested and specific energy is invested in the and then it comes as an avatar. So there are different types of avatars. We have Purusha avatars, we have Leela avatars, we have Guna avatars, Manmantara avatars, Yuga avatars, and Shakti Avesh avatar. So Purusha avatars are three in number, and we know Karanodika Sai Vishnu, the Lord who lays in the Karana ocean. That's Karanodika Sai Vishnu, and then Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu is the second expansion of Karnodika Sai Vishnu. As Karnodika Sai Vishnu is Mahavishnu, and from him we have Garbhodika Sai Vishnu, the one who is in the Garbha ocean. And then there is Kshirodak Sai Vishnu, who enters into each and every atom of this universe, and he lives in the Kshira Sagar. That's the Kshirodak Sai Vishnu. So that's the first expansion of Krishna as Purusha avatar. And then we have Leela avatars, where different pastimes in the Srimad Bhagavatam is mentioned. We have the four Kumaras, Narada, and we have the Kurma avatar, Dhanvantri avatar, Mohini avatar, Vamana avatar. All these are different expansions or different avatars of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the purpose they have is to enact certain pastimes, and that those are called Leela avatars. And then we have Guna avatars. Guna avatars, there are three gunas: Sattva guna, Rajo guna, and Tamo guna. And guna avatars are avatars of expansions of Lord Krishna in these three gunas. So, in the Lord Vishnu is considered to be the guna avatar in the mode of Sattva. and Brahma is supposed to be the Guna avatar in the mode of Rajas, the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva is supposed to be the Guna avatar in the mode of passion, in the ignorance. So that's Guna avatar, and then there is Manvantar avatar, which is every Brahma's day is categorized into 1,000 Chaturyugas, and each Chaturyuga is divided into 14 periods of rules of Manu, and these are called Manvantaras. And in each of these Manvantaras, there are different avatars of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have examples like Rishabhadeva, we have Yajna and Satyasena. All these are different examples of Manvantara avatars. So this is another way of another incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are all mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and there is in the fifth type of avatar is called Yuga avatar. So we have different yugas. We have Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, and in each of these yugas, the Lord personally appears. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, "Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkritam, dharma samstha abhanartaya, sambhavami yuge yuge." So each yuga I come to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants. So that's Lord Krishna's guarantee that in each yuga he will appear. So in Satya Yuga he came as Prishni Garbha, and in Treta Yuga came as the Lord Ramachandra. In Dwapara Yuga, he came as Lord Ram. In Dwapara Yuga, he came as Lord Krishna. And then in Kali Yuga, he came as none other than Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishna Sango Panga Shapasadam. So he came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself in the mode of Lord Krishna and Lord Srimati Radharani. So that's the Yuga avatar, and in the last avatars which is mentioned is the Sakti Avesh avatar. Sakti Avesh avatar. So Srila Prabhupada writes here that we have to understand that King Prithu is a Sakti Avesh avatar. So Sakti Avesh avatars, there is no limit to the number of Sakti Avesh avatars which can be taken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there are multiple instances where these are mentioned. There are two kinds of Shakti Avesh avatars specifically. One is the direct expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and an indirect expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when the Lord Himself expands and displays a particular specific Shakti, then he is known as Sakshat, or the direct incarnation. And when He empowers the living entity with a specific Shakti, then that is called indirect or Avesha incarnation. So there are different Avesha incarnations exemplified here. So the four Kumaras, they were empowered with knowledge, because when Brahma, during the time of creation, Brahma was invested with this idea of creating this material world, and so Brahma tried multiple things to create, but initially he was creating through the mind, and he created Manasa Kumaras, and for four Kumaras, they came from the mind of Brahma, and they were extremely knowledgeable, and so it's explained that the four Kumaras are they were empowered with the knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Narada, who is also a son of Lord Brahma, he's also Manasa Kumara. He was empowered with the aspect of devotional service, and that's the specific Shakti which he was empowered with. And these are all Avesha avatars explained in this Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Brahma himself was empowered with the creative power. And then King Prithu Maharaj was empowered with the power to maintain all living entities. So that's Prithu Maharaj we are discussing here. So Prithu Maharaj came into the world when the world was in doldrums, basically. So there was no king to rule over, and the previous king was completely rejecting the Vedic way of life. So King Prithu Maharaj was an empowered Avesha incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the primary reason for him to come was to maintain all the living beings. So we saw how King Prithu Maharaj milks the earth, and how he brought back all the prosperity of the earth by action of the milking of the cow, which is a representation of the mother earth. And then there is Parashurama and Vedavyasa. All these are also Avesha incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Parashurama was empowered with the power to kill the evil in the society. And then Vedavyasa was empowered with the power to compile the Vedas. So these are all examples of Shakti Avesha avatars. So here Srila Prabhupada writes an interesting parallel here. So what he says is Shakti Avesh avatars are none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. But here Srila Prabhupada says, whoever is empowered to talk to in this day and age, whoever is empowered to preach the message of bhakti, and he is supposed to be an empowered incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here we see in our example, we see Srila Prabhupada, how he came at this at the very old age. He took the Jaladuta, and then he had like two massive heart attacks. And despite all these, he came to a place which was totally alien to what it is, to what he has been used to. He was completely in the renounced order of life, just dedicated his life to the service of Radha and Krishna. But still, because of the word he gave to his guru, he came to the land to the which is unknown, which is to which is Paschat Desha, which is like the Western countries. And then he came here, landed with zero contact and just with very little amount of money, and still was able to establish this huge organization of ISKCON and build 108 temples all over the world. And these are not mean feat for anybody, and this very clearly shows that Srila Prabhupada was an empowered acharya. So that's why, so whenever so here Prabhupada himself says, so whoever is specially empowered to to preach this bhakti cult, they are supposed to be empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are multiple instances like this we have seen, but Srila Prabhupada is the very glaring example in our parampara, who was like extremely representative of the Shakti Avesha aspect of the incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what this goes on to say is like the Supreme Lord is extremely merciful, and he's always wanting to ensure that the living entities are finding a way and path to go back home, back to Godhead. So because of that, the Lord descends, and then he comes in different avatars. So we saw the six types of avatars. So the Lord can come in any of those forms, or he can come in the Shakti Avesh avatar. So there are, in every instance, there is some type of avatar happening in some place of the universe. So this is only because of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he, like a father who wants his son to come back to him, is always very eager for the living entities to come back to him. So today is Amalaki Ekadasi, and today is called Madhava Tithi. And so today, any devotional activity we do is like very, very powerful, and it helps us grow in our path of bhakti. And in the week of this week, we have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day, which is Gaura Purnima. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Mahavadanyaya. So he's the most merciful incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is in the mood of Lord Radharani and Lord Krishna in the same body. So it's mentioned Radha Krishna Eka Tanu hai. So he's just Radha and Krishna in one body, and we've seen like how he is extremely merciful for even those fallen, and say he's called Patita Pavan. So for all those people who are considered to be fallen in this age of Kali, the only source of refuge is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this very auspicious time where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day is coming, I pray that we all take to the path of chanting the Supreme Personality of Godhead's name, and take to worshipping the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that we'll be able to progress in bhakti. So one another point which Srila Prabhupada makes here is that if anyone blasphemes a devotee, so this is the first offense which Srila Prabhupada mentions, which is mentioned in the Padma Purana, which is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their life to the preaching of the holy name of the Lord. So if somebody is preaching, if talking about the glories of the holy name, and if somebody is offensive, Srila Prabhupada says even if they are in a Vaishnava clothes, and even if they wear a tilaka, they are considered to be great offenders. So it shows that the devotees are very, very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and those who are involved in preaching this message are also very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we have to be very careful in not being offensive towards them. So that's a very important point Srila Prabhupada makes in this purport as well. So with that, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice.